Witness investigator David Hammer has tracked the Road Home program since it first began, and his analysis last year found 1 in 5 grant recipients has not rebuilt.
But that was just the homeowner program. There's also a Road Home for landlords, and David finds the problems there could be even worse.
Algiers Point, one of New Orleans' oldest neighborhoods, and one that came through Hurricane Katrina relatively unscathed. Still, it struggles with blighted and abandoned properties.
When we started to find out who had them and why they had them, what was going on, what we found is that some of the properties had these very large forgivable loans from the Road Home Small Property Rental Program. And there was 14 of them in the point, and more than half of them at that time were blighted.
Like this one belonging to Charles Walker that was awarded a $158,000 forgivable loan in 2010. Broken windows, leaking roof, flapping Tyvek paper. Walker says he's been blocked by Historic District stop work orders, but that was after the Historic District cited Walker for neglect. Then the city fined him for blight, and he hasn't paid his taxes since 2010. City records show his delinquent tax bill is over $20,000. That's frustrating for Frank Standage, who bought the fire-damaged house next door 16 months ago, fixed it up, and wants to sell it.
Next door, as you can see, is a mess. It's been like that since we bought the house and haven't seen the owner since.
You haven't seen him at all?
Never, ever.
The city, to be fair, has tried to do something about it, but the state is the one monitoring this program.
The Road Home Small Rental Program was formed to give mom-and-pop landlords loans they could use to rebuild their properties and charge lower rents to lower-income families. It launched in 2007 on a promise to be better and more efficient than the homeowner grant program.
I have grave concern about what's going on on the residential portion of the Road Home program. However, this is a different program that we're trying to go forward with.
But it proved to be just as bad, if not worse. Landlords couldn't get banks to advance the money on the state's promise to pay after construction was complete. The payouts were so slow, the state took hundreds of millions of dollars out of the program to fund other projects. Then, our investigations exposed contract employees who were overseeing the rental program and falsifying their hours. One, Praveen Kailas, is in federal prison in Fort Worth, Texas. Another, former state rep Gerard Jackson, will be sentenced next month.
The loans took place between 2007 and 2010. We're now in 2014. If the properties haven't been rehabilitated and renovated and put back into commerce now, I would be very skeptical that that's ever going to happen. It seems like the program has run its course, and it's time to go to Plan B.
The state did actually go to Plan B in 2011, changing the small rental loans into grants doled out to state-selected construction contractors. It's given the state more control over 340 properties and the $53 million they've been awarded. But that still left more than 4,000 properties in the old program, including 1,500 that got 50% of their money up front, a total of $130 million. For instance, Troy Field's property got half of a $138,000 forgivable loan in 2010. And this is what's been done. We reached Fields on his cell phone, but he declined to comment. Gallagher is exasperated. Every loan came with specific requirements to fix the property, rent it to tenants making a certain income, and report on progress annually. But when Gallagher calls the state about the abandoned properties, they give him the brush off.
More than a few times they've told me that the properties are in compliance. And then I've asked them things like, well, have they provided the records for rental income and work that's been done? Because they're supposed to, from the contract, yearly provide that information to the state.
Right.
And they said no. And I said, yet they're in compliance.
They give no further explanation when they say this.
No, they are honestly pretty belligerent most of the time, and I've had little success with them.
The state says about 700 of the 4,400 properties that got the loan statewide have not supplied the required documents. That's a failure rate of about 16%. WWL legal analyst Chick Foray says the program failed because it's simply too weak.
There is nothing else securing the loan other than that piece of property. So the state has to go in, seize that piece of property, and the owner, who might have had the best intentions in the world, does not have to repay the loan personally.
David Hammer, Eyewitness News.
State spokesman Doug Baker says the properties we identified are definitely not in compliance. He said letters were sent in July and October of last year, giving those landlords 3 months to comply. The state is now looking at how it can take the money back.